Meditation is exactly like a sport. If you are looking for a certain outcome, you do a certain thing, you practice a certain skill, and it will give you the desired result, the desired outcome, the thing that you're looking to accomplish out of the meditation. Now, the funny paradox about this is the act of meditation itself is the act of doing nothing, and it's essentially getting into purposelessness. So, and that's actually the ultimate state. It's the state of purposelessness, total flow, no goal. But in order to do that, you essentially set a goal to accomplish, and then through that goal, you transcend the goal accomplishment mindset into the purposelessness of the Tao. So it's essentially using the conscious mind to go beyond the conscious mind. So if what you're looking for, if what you're looking to accomplish is a total relaxation of the nervous system, getting into the parasympathetic nervous system part of the body, which actually, once you get into, you plug into the state of flow, which is the state of purposelessness. So it's again, it really is a funny paradox. Like almost everything in creation is a paradox. No, everything in creation is a paradox. So you essentially set the goal. I want to relax myself, relax the parasympathetic nervous system, come to a state of total relaxation and chilling out. And in that state, you actually kind of don't have a goal. It's a funny thing. So anyway, I'm going to show you a breathing technique here that will accomplish this goal, that will decrease your heart rate for the duration of the exercise down to well, it really depends on how relaxed you are, how much food there's in your stomach, all these factors. If you didn't eat anything, you would be able to lower it down to 2 breaths per minute, maybe even 1 breath per minute. 1 breath per minute is when you get better at the technique and you practice it more. And there are many names for this. One of the names that's on the internet, which I'll probably use in the title, is the Buteko. It's a Buteko breathing exercise. So this, I think, Russian scientist or whatever, something, he worked with a lot of patients, and he found that if they can decrease the amount of breaths they take per minute, that they would actually need less sleep and less food, because what happens is decreasing the number of breaths per minute is equivalent to having your laptop on power saving mode. So if you go full brightness, your battery might last for what, 3 hours, 4 hours, depending on your laptop. I know my laptop, which is from like ancient Egypt at this point, if I go full brightness, it goes maybe for an hour and a half. But if I, not even, actually less, less than an hour. But if I go, and this is without a charger, but if I go power saving mode, I could go for a few hours. And so the equivalence of that would be, if you are consistently throughout the day and during your sleeping hours, you're taking in less breaths per minute, then you are operating in power saving mode, which is primarily from your parasympathetic nervous system. Ironically, you function a lot better in the world, and you're in a more of a flow state, serene flow state, goalless state. Okay, the Taoists talk a lot about this, by the way, is setting a goal to be in a state of goallessness, setting a purpose, an intent to be in a state of intentlessness, purposelessness. And that's what we're essentially doing here with this breathing exercise. So if you could reduce using this breathing technique I will show you here. I know I'm rambling a lot, but it's good to understand this intellectually, because understanding helps you, makes, for me at least, what it does is it actually makes me want to do the thing once I understand it intellectually, mentally. So I found that if I'm laying down, just laying down on my back, I could very easily go even a little less than 2 breaths per minute. I could go 1.7, 1.8 breaths per minute. I did that today for an hour actually. Uh, but if I sit down, because I think sitting down takes more energy. Okay, so if I sit down in a lotus position and I do the breathing technique, then I go like maybe between 2 and 3 breaths per minute. Okay. And of course, if I go longer, then it starts to decrease less and less. Now, I haven't had any food in my stomach. I've only had a little bit of water. Makes a big difference. If you eat and you do this, your heart rate already increases, because think about it. You eat something, you eat a meal, then what happens is your heart rate goes up because more work needs to be done now in the system. You see, so it's a more excited system. So if you eat a lot, the heart rate, I mean, you try and do this. Measure your heart rate before a meal, eat a decent sized meal, and measure it after. It's going to go up. If let's say your heart rate was 60 what, RPM per minute, right? It'll go up to 80 maybe, depending on the meal and what you ate. It'll maybe go up to 80 because the body has to do work now, you see? So yeah, so anyway, so you decrease the breaths per minute, and if you do this consistently over a period of time, you will need to sleep less because you're on power saving mode. If you're on power saving mode, you don't need to charge your laptop as much. You hear me? Same thing. If you are, because what happens now, of course, I finished the meditation. I meditated before making this video. And of course, now my heart rate is going, I'm breathing more than 2 breaths per minute. I'm talking and I'm a bit excited as I'm talking. So of course, it'll go up throughout the day. However, it'll be less than it usually is. Especially if you do this for an hour, right? You'll even be more mindful of your breath throughout the day, and you'll tend to want to decrease it if you feel it's going too much up. Okay, so again, it makes sense. If you're operating on power saving mode, you don't need to charge your laptop as much. You don't need to feed it with electricity, feed it with food as much. Same thing. If you're able to manage a low breath, like a small amount of breaths per minute, then you won't need to be charged as much via sleep. You won't need to be charged as much via food. And according to Buteko, Dr. Buteko, he was a doctor, right? He was a doctor. And I believe an MD too, a medical doctor. He says that he decreased his own sleeping through years of doing this practice, this breathing technique. He said he reduced it down to 2 hours. He said he was sleeping 2 hours, towards the end of his life. He says he was sleeping he might still be alive, but I don't think he is, no. But he said that he also managed a lot of his patients decrease their sleep over a period of time, a prolonged practice of Buteko breathing, down to 4 hours, which again makes sense. Again, use the laptop analogy, just makes perfect sense. And it's important to do this before sleep if you really want to decrease your sleeping hours, because if you do this before sleep, you go sleep, you're going to be breathing less during your sleep, and there's a great emphasis on doing it before sleep and decreasing the amount of breaths you take while you're asleep. That's what's going to make a difference also. Nevertheless, you will definitely feel more at peace, more at ease, more at serenity with your environment, and you will take on more of the observant point of view. This is also a common practice, a common technique in Pranayam, in the system of yoga, the Indian system of yoga. It's a common Pranayam practice to sit quietly and reduce the number of breaths you take per minute. Now, I'll show you guys the practice. We'll talk a little bit more after about it. You could do this laying down, you could do this sitting, you could even do this while walking. One of the Buteko practices they do is while they walk, they'll practice on taking less breaths per minute as they walk. So they carry out the practice into daily life. So the practice is very simple. You're gonna be breathing in from your nose and out from your nose, okay? So There are many variations. I'll show you one or two maybe. Okay, so let's start with the inhalation. You inhale through your nose, so you hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, so let's do this. And then you let it out. Just let it out fully. Okay, so again, we've held for 10 seconds, so now let's let out. And once it's fully let out through your nose, then you hold it there again for between 5 and 10 seconds. There are many different variations for this. Some will say hold it longer here, hold it longer there. You catch my drift though. So again, breathing through your nose, holding it for 5 to 10 seconds, breathing out your nose, holding it for 5 to 10 seconds. So inhale, hold for 5 to 10 seconds or 5 to 15. And then exhale and same thing, hold for 5 to 15 seconds. Maybe in the beginning, do it for 5 seconds and increase as you go on. Okay? Then there are the other variations of it is you would do the same thing, what I just told you, and then the next breath you take will be a regular breath. Okay, so the next breath you take will just be just in and out. You're not holding for 5 to 10 seconds in between or 5 to 10 seconds after, just in, but always through your nose, always. What's gonna happen? Interesting thing. You're gonna start to have more saliva in your mouth. So this, I presume, is how the breatharians who don't even drink water are able to extract water from the atmosphere. Just do this right now. Just do it for like 5-10 breaths. You'll start to see more saliva in your mouth. So I presume this is how you could effectively, because by you really calm down the breathing and then your body gets plugged into its environment because it's so relaxed. I mean, it's crazy, but you start to have saliva in your mouth. It's like magic shit if you're ever thirsty. Just go somewhere, maybe a shaded area or something, and just do this for 5-10 minutes, and you'll have saliva, and you'll pretty soon you won't even feel thirsty. It's quite magical actually. So again, to go over this one more time, we're always breathing through our nose and always out our mouth. Inhale and exhale through the nose only. Okay, so you take a full inhale and you're doing it slowly. Okay, so it's not like you're not in a rush. You're trying to reduce the number of breaths per minute here. That's what you're trying to do. Okay, so and that would be one breath. So you could see if you actually start to do this, you won't take more than 3 breaths per minute. Because if you're holding for 10 seconds, 10 seconds is already 20 seconds. You're gonna be taking 3 or less breaths per minute. You'll definitely get down to 2 easily. I find if I lay down on my back, without even trying, I'm just much more relaxed. I guess there's less energy even required to keep a posture, keep a sitting. So very easily I go less than 2 breaths per minute, and if I do it for a while, it starts to go down to like 1.5, and then if you get to 1 breath per minute after some time, and then here's what I want to talk about before. You start to see lights and stuff, and if you go long enough into it, you could even start to see geometric shapes, and I'm talking probably 1 hour plus, but definitely you start to see lights. Try to put on a blindfold also while doing this. Yeah, like if once you go to 1 breath per minute and beyond, like less, even less than 2 breaths per minute, you start to see like white lights. You really can do a lot of things in that state of consciousness. You could hypnotize yourself, you could even say affirmations to yourself, you could astral project, you could do lots of things in that state of consciousness. It's the yin way of going on about life. What I talked about in the beginning of the video, how different meditation practices do different things. If I'm feeling yin, if the energy is yin, and I'm more calm about it, like today, I'm doing a fast. just a water fast. And so the energy is a little bit lower because I've got lots of detoxification symptoms going on, because yesterday I went out and it wasn't pretty as far as the binge went. And I wanted to do just a water fast today. So I was experiencing some detox symptoms earlier on, and by reducing my amount of breathing I take per minute and getting into parasympathetic nervous system, you actually aid the detoxification. Most toxins are released via your breath. So you actually aid the detoxification, and after some time of doing this, you'll begin to feel the energy rise up again, which I certainly felt. Enough for me to make videos. I don't make videos unless I feel energetically propelled to make them, unless I feel that the energy flow through the system is balanced enough, is vibrant enough, is vital enough to make videos. Otherwise, I don't make videos because I'm in a compromised state of consciousness, as simple as that. And I would like to deliver something to you guys that is as close to wisdom and as close to truth and compassion and all these good stuff as I can. Therefore, I'm under the duty to always be as aligned as I can be with the way, with the Tao, to be continuously providing this information, this, the wisdom and the knowledge, etc. So I was feeling low on energy, and I said, well, clearly the body's dealing with something. I ate like Kit Kat bars and chunky bars and all kinds of things last night. Clearly it's trying to get rid of something here. So let me help it. Let me get in the parasympathetic nervous system, so the healing actually accelerates. You accelerate the healing. So now, instead of my body taking, because of 1 hour of having pretty much like maybe was breathing, because I counted my breath, I think I've definitely took less than 2 breaths per minute for like the whole 1 hour. So had I not done that, maybe whatever my body was trying to get rid of, which was causing me to feel tired, would have maybe taken another 2 or 3 hours, because I would be breathing more. I would be taking in maybe 8, 9, 10 breaths per minute. But now I significantly reduced the amount of breaths I took down to 2. So my body actually dealt with whatever it was trying to deal a lot quicker, therefore causing the energy to rise up again. You see, causing the energy to go up again. So I up to the point where I felt propelled to make videos. I didn't make videos today. Okay? So this is great. This is fantastic. And you could use this if you're doing any type of fast. It'll help accelerate the healing, and it'll help bring in more energy into the system. I use this meditation technique if I'm feeling yin. Again, if I'm feeling tired, or I want to lay down, or this and that, I'm doing some fast, or I didn't get enough sleep. It charges you up very nicely. Now, if I'm feeling yang about life, I'll do some form of chanting or humming, because they just bring in this sort of ecstatic spiritual type energy. You try and hum or chant, it's a different experience than if you do this. This is working more with the subtle energies, with the yin aspect of creation. And then chanting and singing and dancing and humming and all these things, they bring you more into the yang side of life, that the sort of ecstatic yang, fire energy. So it's very cool to be aware of the different manifestations of the energy and work with them according to how you feel at each moment. Okay, and this is great if you're feeling yin, if you're feeling maybe a little tired, or a little you didn't sleep as much, or you're fasting and you're going through detox. This will help you a lot. Like, it's amazing how much quicker your body will be able to clean out the toxins that you're maybe making you feel tired, because you're able to, for 1 hour, sustaining that period for 1 hour of actually going to only 2 breaths per minute or less. In the beginning, you might not be able to go down to 2, maybe like 4. Still fantastic. I heard something like turtles live so long because they breathe. Over the course of their lifetime, they breathe less than like most humans. By the way, they're into the sympathetic nervous system. They're breathing like 18, 19, 20 breaths per minute, which is like basically, again, one of the reasons why we have I talk about this. I'll keep talking about this. If you're dying before 200 years, that's premature death. Turtles live up to be 150, 200, and from what I heard, the number of breaths they take per minute is less. It's like I don't know exactly how much, but it must be like at that level, 2, 3, 4, 5, no more, you know. And so most humans are taking in 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 sympathetic nervous system, because most humans are plugged into the sympathetic nervous system, stress, cortisol. And whereas if a human can actually sustain this low number of breaths per minute throughout their lifetime, you'll go on. You'll probably be able to go on, right? And of course, food plays a part, because if you're constantly eating and your heart rate's constantly up, the body's constantly working, you're constantly taking in more breaths per minute just to handle and digest the food. So it's an equation that has many factors to it. Okay, it's not as simple as take less breaths per minute and do this consistently and you'll sleep less and live longer. No, it's got many different factors. The answer is always a lot more complex to life's problems, right? And yet it is simple actually, because if you just simply reduce the amount of breaths you take per minute, good things will happen into your life. So take this as a tool, add it to your toolbox, use it whenever you feel yin, whenever you feel like, okay, let me just relax, I've been thinking too much or this and that. Okay, I'm gonna try this to practice this today, take a walk and practice it while walking also, because you know, if I could start to practice that in my daily life also, because you're just building habits. I'm sure when I walk, my heart rate goes up, but if I start to practice, I do a lot of walking. So maybe if I start to practice, if let's say I'm walking now and I'm taking maybe 12 breaths per minute, maybe if I practice, get it down to 6, there you go. I'm power saving, I'm saving energy. So this also takes mindfulness throughout the day to do this, okay? So thank you to all the Patreons for your support, your continued support. I love you guys so much. And thank you to anybody who's also supported the channel on PayPal through one-time donations. You guys are so generous. I love you. If you would like to do either or, join the Patreon family. It's like $2 a month, honestly. Come on. Description links in the description. I love you guys. Saeed Mobayed Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until next time, may the force be with you.